You know what I love about a Trump presidency? What you see is what you get, and what you were promised is exactly what you get. Remember when Joe Biden was talking about taxes? He wanted to make the tax system more fair by increasing corporate taxes and increasing taxes for the wealthiest Americans, and he kept telling people, don't worry, your taxes won't go up if you're not making more than $400,000 a year. Now, that was the rhetoric, but it didn't exactly play out in that way. And just in general, where they were coming from seemed like it was all over the place. Tax increases here, decreases there, just creating a more cumbersome tax code. And at the end of the day, there was slogans, but people didn't really know what they were getting. But with Donald Trump, it's freaking simple. He says, I'm going to slash your taxes, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, and then he tries to get that exact thing done. It's simple, tells you what the plan is, and then makes it freaking happen. And now, in classic Trump fashion, that's exactly what's happening with the one big, beautiful bill that's currently in the early draft phases. Well, it's Donald Trump making good on his very simple promises. And it's also good for you and good for the country. You know, it's almost like Donald Trump is the medicine man, and he's giving the country and the people the medicine that they deserve. Let me show you guys exactly what's happening with this bill. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so the one big, beautiful bill has officially hit the House floor.
This bill is big and beautiful for Main Street America and investors alike. The president's signature tax legislation will prevent an enormous tax hike on Main Street by making the small business deduction permanent. It will also provide tax credits and deductions for research and innovation to stimulate investment in high-tech operations. It will restore 100% expensing for equipment while expanding that incentive to new factory construction.
That is a win to be able to diversify supply chains, so we're not reliant on any one foreign party for critical goods or sectors. I think a global 10% tariff is a strong incentive, and also we're hoping that Congress does its job with the tax bill to get expensing and some of these other things. I think once we land the tax bill, we're going to have a very, very competitive economic footprint here in the United States. It's going to attract investment.
This bill is not about protecting the wealthy. It is about delivering real relief to workers, families, seniors, small businesses.
This package also invests in what truly matters. It gives our troops a raise, it strengthens our national defense, and it secures our border. This bill delivers on the promises made to working Americans by eliminating tax on tips and overtime.
This bill will also preserve and protect critical programs such as Medicaid so that they work for the Americans who most need it for generations to come. Instead of prioritizing illegal immigrants or ineligible recipients,
this bill puts us on path to fiscal responsibility. This bill reverses the spending sprees of the Democrats over the last 4 years.
And according to the Trump administration, this is likely to be the largest tax cut in American history. We're talking double-digit % decrease in middle-class tax bills. They're estimating around 15% less in taxes for people earning anywhere from $30,000 to $80,000 a year. That's potentially $5,000 back in your pocket. Then Trump's, of course, making good on his core promises of no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and now they're suggesting an extra $4,000 deduction for seniors on Social Security. They've also slapped some other things in the bill, like removing 1.4 million illegal immigrants from Medicaid, building the rest of the wall. They're planning 700 miles of new barrier, hiring 10,000 new ICE agents, 5,000 customs officers, and 3,000 border patrol, and also modernizing air traffic control. I mean, just going through the list of the nation's most pressing problems and doing something about it, one line at a time. But I really want to focus on the tax part because what I'm looking at here is the exact kind of bold leadership that is needed. You know, we across the Western world have been told that our time is up, right? It's time for you to pay taxes, to decimate your own industry, to stagnate while the rest of the world catches up. No, Donald Trump is saying the exact opposite. He's saying we are the world leaders and we are going to stay in that position. Enough with this nonsense of hamstringing ourselves. And so it feels almost like Donald Trump is building a launch pad for the most explosive economic expansion that we have ever seen in modern American history. And it all ties in. It's about stimulating the economy like never seen before. Lower taxes, higher wages, more energy production, strong borders. And on top of all of that, two extra factors that I think are really going to take it to the next level: the 10% global tariff that Donald Trump seems highly committed to. Sure, we've seen some crazy numbers. Trump talking about a 25% tariff on Canada, and if Justin Trudeau opens his mouth ever again, he'll make it 75, or as 145% Chinese tariff. We've seen all these big numbers and Trump just being Trump, but the number that Trump seems actually committed to is that 10% global baseline tariff. Well, they're estimating a significant chunk of foreign taxes being collected on that 10% tariff. What the Trump administration is saying is that if you want access to the American market, you got to pay for that access. And Donald Trump has been saying that for months now.
Foreign nations will finally be asked to pay for the privilege of access to our market, the biggest market in the world. We're right now the biggest market in the world. We had a great country 4 years ago in terms of the economics. We were doubling up on China. We were doing so well. Nobody was going to catch us, but so much of it slipped away over the last 4 years under Biden. I campaigned on this policy throughout last year, and today that promise was made, and it was also a promise, as you know, that was kept. Promises made, promises kept. To any company that objects to our common sense reciprocal tariffs, again, reciprocal, back and forth, back and forth. And I call this kind reciprocal. This is not full reciprocal. This is kind reciprocal. But what we do is we cut it in half. We charge them. My answer is very simple. If they complain, if you want your tariff rate to be zero, then you build your product right here in America, because there is no tariff if you build your plant, your product in America.
So basically the idea is unleash the American consumer by taking the weight off their shoulders, have foreign nations pick up the slack, and then on top of it, the $10+ trillion that he's brought in terms of private foreign investment. It seems like a recipe for an economic boon like never seen before. And he's actually doing it. He didn't just talk the talk, he is walking the walk. Every single element of his plan is being put into place meticulously. And now I know, there's the doom and gloomers, there's the Democrats that are claiming that it's actually a massive con. Donald Trump just wants to enrich his billionaire friends while cutting your Medicaid. Yeah, that's not happening. We've already discussed this. And the bill lays it out quite clearly. They're cutting illegal immigrant access to Medicaid. They're not cutting Medicaid services for actual American citizens. With Donald Trump's pharmaceutical policy, that's likely also to be drafted and put on the House floor for a vote, your healthcare costs might actually go down for once. No, this bill is largely meant to benefit workers, families, seniors, and small businesses. That's literally the focus of the legislation. It's how it's written, it's how it's crafted. Not to mention Democrats over the last 4 years overseeing the greatest wealth transfer in modern American history. Yeah, I'd probably suggest maybe sit this one out. But then we've also got the Republican naysayers who say that this bill won't pass. It's already being blocked by Republicans in the House. And Democrats are, of course, signal boosting that. Oh, the bill's already dead on arrival. No, it's not. Please calm down. I think there was 5 Republicans in the House who are currently challenging the bill, but it's normal stuff, friends. It's rhinos being rhinos. Does it suck? Absolutely. But is it the end of the world? Absolutely not. They're probably going to ask for amendments or handouts. They're going to want to, get whatever their little priorities are snuck into the bill, or they're going to offer up changes like Mike Johnson, who after presenting the bill redefined what Donald Trump was saying with no tax on Social Security. He's now calling that senior tax relief. So the idea of 0% tax turned into a $4,000 deductible. That's just the name of the game. That's just the way that it is. Progress happens slowly. You can't get everybody on board overnight. And while there is cause for frustration and possibly concern, it's certainly not time to doom. No, this bill will pass in some iteration that is similar to what the president initially promised. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this bill only needs 51 votes in the Senate, as it can be passed through the budget reconciliation process. Remember, when Kamala Harris was that tiebreaker 51 vote on some of Joe Biden's disastrous legislation, we all remember, I'm sure. Well, it's basically the same process here. This bill is going to pass, it will not be blocked, and while it might not be perfect, it's going to be a whole lot better than anything we've seen for a very long time. And it all lines up with the larger vision, the larger strategy, and at the end of the day, I truly believe that this administration is on the verge of accomplishing something quite spectacular here. If Trump can do a fraction of what he's trying to do, he will go down as one of the most transformative presidents and arguably one of the greatest presidents in American history. But of course, he's still got 4 years to prove that. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.